And anyone riding by would think they just stumbled on something they were absolutely not supposed to see. Her black habit was twisted, her leg was bare under the torn fabric, and she was gasping like someone had been chasing her for miles. To a stranger, it might have looked like the start of a sinful scene out in the middle of the Kansas prairie, but nothing about this moment was even close to that. It was fear. Pure fear. Evelyn had been running since before sunrise, running from the kind of man who used God like a whip. Father Silas had decided she needed to be punished. He called it cleansing. She knew it was humiliation. He told her he would shave her head in front of the whole town. He said it with a smile. She saw the razor. She felt the ropes. And she did the only thing she could. She ran. By the time the sun climbed high enough to burn the sky white, she was stumbling through dry grass, dizzy from hunger and heat. Her lips were cracked. Her breath came in short shakes. She tried to pray, but every time she opened her mouth, all she could hear was Silas saying he would make an example out of her. Worse than that, she kept imagining Cole Barrett catching up to her, dragging her back, holding her down for that blade. She dropped to her knees, then her hands, then she collapsed completely, face half in the dirt. She thought this was how she would die, alone under a sky that did not care. Then she heard it. Hooves. Slow at first, then closer. Her heart hammered against her ribs. She tried to sit up, tried to crawl, tried anything, as she whispered no over and over. She thought it was Cole. She thought the nightmare was back for her. A horse stopped right beside her. Boots stepped into the dust. A man knelt down fast, his shadow fallen across her. She felt a hand on her leg, gentle but firm, checking if she was hurt. She panicked and screamed the only thing she could think of. "You shave. God will kill you." The man froze. He had no idea why a young nun would yell something like that. He was Thomas McGraw, a rancher who only wanted to help, but the second those words hit him, he realized he had just stepped into something dangerous. And for a man who lived a quiet life, the question hit him hard. If he tried to save her, was he ready for the trouble that would follow? Thomas did not expect that scream. It hit him right in the chest, sharp enough to make him forget the hot wind blowing through the grass. He held his hands up, palms open, like a man trying to calm a spooked horse. He said, "Easy now. You're safe. I'm not here to hurt you." But Evelyn was shaking so hard her teeth clicked together. She tried to crawl away, even though her injured leg barely worked. She kept whispering, "Please, no, please not again." Her voice thin and broken. Thomas felt something twist inside him. He had seen rough things in his life, and he knew the look of someone who had been pushed too far. Whoever put that fear in her had done something real bad. He touched her shoulder and said softly that he was Thomas McGraw, rancher out of Dodge City, and he was just checking if she was hurt. She blinked at him like she did not believe anyone could be decent anymore. The sun was beating down on both of them. Thomas could feel it burning through his shirt. He saw that Evelyn was fading fast. Her lips were dry. Her skin was too hot. He said, "All right, let me help you up." She hesitated, but when he slipped an arm under her back, she finally let her weight fall into him. Her voice cracked as she asked if he was taking her back. He said back where? She swallowed hard and said back to the man with the razor. Thomas did not know the story yet, but he knew one thing. No one was getting near her with a blade until he had some answers. He lifted her in his arms, surprised by how light she was. She clung to his shirt like she was afraid of falling out of the world. "You are going to be all right. I have water at the ranch. It is not far. Just hold on a little longer." Evelyn finally managed to ask why he was helping her. Thomas gave a half smile and said, "Because a person ought to help when God puts someone helpless in their path." She stared at him, confused by his kindness. Then her eyes rolled a bit and she slumped forward. He caught her quick before she fell. He lifted her onto the saddle and climbed up behind her, holding her steady as the horse started moving toward his ranch. The prairie stretched out wide in front of them, hot and empty, but Thomas felt something heavy riding just behind them. A feeling that trouble was coming, a feeling he did not like one bit. And as the horse carried them away, a new question started forming in his mind. If he wanted to save her, what would he have to face next? The ride back to Thomas McGraw's ranch felt longer than it really was. Evelyn leaned against him, barely awake, every bump in the trail making her let out a faint sound. Thomas kept one arm around her so she would not slide off the saddle. He kept talking to her, gentle and steady, like a man trying to guide someone back from the edge. By the time he reached his land, the sun was dropping just enough to cool the air, and he thanked God for it. The ranch was simple. Thomas carried Evelyn inside and laid her on the spare bed. She looked even smaller under the dim light. Sweat clung to her hair. Her hands trembled. He gave her water. Slow sips, letting her catch her breath. She whispered thank you like she had not said those words in a long time. When he came back, she tried to sit up on her own, stubborn as a mule. He told her easy now. You do not need to prove anything. He cleaned the scrape on her leg, careful not to hurt her. She winced a little, and every time she did, he said sorry under his breath. When she was strong enough to speak, her voice was low. She told him almost everything, about Father Silas, about the razor, about the orders, about how she ran in the middle of the night. Thomas listened, his jaw tight. His hand paused on the cloth. He had seen crooked men before, but hearing a priest use God as a weapon made something old and angry wake up inside him. Later that evening, Evelyn tried to wash up at the pump behind the house. Thomas turned away to give her privacy but he still caught a glimpse of her trying to splash water on her face with shaking hands. He walked back inside, muttering that this whole thing was getting worse by the minute. He knew trouble was coming. You could sense it in the quiet, like the way animals go still before a storm. What he did not know was that one of those men had already crossed into his land and was watching the ranch from the tree line, waiting for night to settle. Before we go on, if you enjoy stories like this, you can tap subscribe so you do not miss the rest. And while you listen, grab a warm drink, settle in, and tell me what time it is where you are right now and where you are listening from. Morning came quiet on the McGraw Ranch, but it was the kind of quiet that made the back of a man's neck itch. Thomas stepped out on the porch with his coffee, looked over the pasture, and could not shake the feeling that something was watching the place. Inside, he could hear Evelyn moving around, careful and light, like she did not quite believe she was allowed to touch anything. She walked out a moment later, still in her dark habit, hair tucked away, but her face a little less pale. She thanked him again for the bed, the water, the bandage. Thomas shrugged it off, said any decent man would have done the same,